Hi, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about my top tips for charity shops. In this video we're going to be talking about my top tips to find second-hand bargains in charity shops or on Vinted. I made a video very similar to this quite a long time ago actually, and since then I've been thrifting almost every week. Not buying every week, and we'll get on to that, but I've learned absolutely loads and I think it'd be really good to share that with you, so that's what we're going to talk about. So grab a cup of whatever is your preferred beverage, settle down and let's get into it. Some of you are probably wondering about this enormous bow. I don't make New Year's resolutions, although this year I am sort of thinking it would be quite nice to try and push the boundaries a little bit with my style. I'm going to try things a bit new. Sometimes they might look daft, you might think this looks daft, that's okay. I'm kind of wavering myself, but if you don't try then you never know, and I think it's really important that we all try new things, so that is why this is here. My first tip is location, location, location. So I think Kirsty and Phil have got it bang on, it's really important. So if you can go to a location which is in a well-to-do area, chances are you're going to get slightly better quality clothes. However, of course, that can come with a price hike, so be mindful of that. My absolute top tip that I've learned this year though, is that if you can go to a town or a city that has an outlet village, so it's full of shops that are really good name brands but at a discount, then you'll find those make their way into the charity shops as well. And so you might get a broader range of great names that you wouldn't normally see. So definitely look for outlet villages. Tip number 2, look for quality, not quantity. It is really tempting to just go and buy loads of stuff, but the absolute best thing to do is to buy the quality. So when you look at the label, you're looking, I mean, if you're lucky, you get cashmere. I've picked up a couple of cashmere pieces, but you can look for 100% silk, linen, wool, cotton. Look for those really good quality fabrics. That means what you're buying is worth your money and you'll really, really like it, and it'll last longer when you get it home. Also, check the label, make sure it's a brand that's well known for great quality clothes. Can't go wrong there. Tip number 3. Evaluate. So if you're evaluating the quality, then you are less likely to buy something that's made by a fast fashion brand that might fall apart as soon as you get it home. Remember, if you're buying it second hand, it probably has already been worn, and fast fashion does not have a long shelf life. That being said though, there is an exception. If you want to try a fashion trend and you're really desperate but you don't want to splurge, then buying fast fashion from second-hand shop or Vinted can be an economical way to do that. Generally though, I always recommend tip number 4, which is style over fashion. Always, always, always think about whether it suits you. Does it Does it suit your physicality? Does it suit your lifestyle? Does it go with other things in your wardrobe? My bow is falling down. Make sure it works for you. And if it's a fashion trend that you want to try and you're desperate, then go for it. But if not, and you're buying it just because everyone else is wearing it, then maybe it's not right. Really think it through, always go for style over fashion. Number 5, know your limits. Always set a limit or a budget that you're going for and don't go over that. Now obviously that's good sense because it means you don't splurge money that you don't necessarily want to or have, but it also means it forces you to be ruthless and you only buy the stuff that you really love. So you come away feeling really happy because you're not broke and you've got what you love. I'm running out of fingers. Tip number 6. Use your imagination. Now often you can buy something that you can reuse or repurpose in a different way. So this is actually a necktie and I decided to wear it on my head. It's not groundbreaking, but it is a different way to use it. Can you do that with some of the things that you're buying or some of the things that you already own even? And look in different sections as well. I'm a big advocate of looking in the men's sections. I've got some great men's jeans that fit me really well from looking in the men's section. So be open, use your imagination, try and find different ways to style things. Think about how you could combine it with things you already have for a different kind of look, and definitely check different sections to your norm as well. Tip number 7, make do and mend. Now obviously this is a well-known phrase, but I think a lot of things are left at charity shops because they have maybe the seams coming loose or they have a tiny little button missing or something like that. If you're able to do some very minor repairs, then you can grab a bargain that other people might shy away from. That also goes towards upcycling as well. I think that links in quite nicely. A lot of things are left behind because they might have a varnish on the wood that people don't find pleasing, but you can always upcycle things. So think about what you can do and you might get a bargain that way. Tip number 8, just say no. Another well-worn phrase, but this one I think is really important. Some days you're going to go thrifting and you'll see some things that are okay, but only okay. And in the context of what's in the rest of the shop, they might be the best of the bunch. But if they don't make your heart sing and you're not really excited about buying them and wearing them, then don't get them. Save your money for another day. They're not a bargain unless you love them. Okay, this second section is how to thrift like a pro on Vinted. It's slightly different to charity shops. If you go to charity shops, you can feel all of the fabric and potentially you might be able to try it on now. Of course, you can't do that with Vinted. So here are some tricks to really get So here are some tricks on how to really get the best of Vinted. Tip number 1, go for quality. So you might be thinking, well, she just said that you can't feel the quality of the fabric because obviously you're not in the shop. And whilst that's true, there are some things you can do. So you can search for brands that you know make good quality clothes. So my go-to are always Hobbs and Marks and Spencer's. I think they're fabulous, I love them. So you can set your search parameters to search for the brands that you know are really good quality. You can also scour the photos that the sellers put up. They are supposed to take photos of any flaws. So whilst that might put some people off, it means you can have a look, and it kind of goes back to the make, do and mend. If there are any flaws, can you fix them up? And if there aren't any flaws, then great, you know it's a good quality item. Some sellers also put on photos of the labels, which is really good because you can see what kind of fabric it's made from then. And remember, you can always get in touch with the seller to ask them questions. Just if you do that, bear in mind that someone can come along and nab it and just buy it. So be quick if you want to do that. Tip number 2. Great brands at great prices. That's not really a tip, that's a slogan. Slogan? But my point here is that you can again change the filtering so that you can filter by a certain brand and then you can choose the cheapest first. This then shows you all of the items for sale under that brand at their cheapest, and you can really get a bargain there. Tip number 3. Really struggled to do this one. Tip number 3 is know your price limit and stick to it. Remember that postage and the admin fee will be added to whatever you buy, so just factor that in. If it's a £5 and it looks great, fabulous, but remember you could be paying up to £4 or so for delivery, and there's a little charge on top that goes to Vinted. Admin fee, I think. So just make sure that you check the total before you click buy, just to make sure that you are happy with it and it does still feel like a bargain for you. I have no doubt that you guys will have loads of other tips, so please feel free to share them in the comments. I'd really love to know what your tips are. I have no doubt that you will all have other great tips, so if you'd like to share them in the comments, please feel free. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye!